Hello all, welcome back to Forest Biology. So today we are going to learn the next chapter, that is neural control and coordination. So let's quickly go through this chapter. Coordination is the process through which two or more organs interact and complement the functions of each other. In a body, the neural system and the endocrine system jointly coordinate and integrate all the activities of the organ so that they function in a synchronized fashion. The neural system provides an organized network of point-to-point connections for a quick coordination. The endocrine system provides chemical integration through the hormones. So first, we learn the neural system. The neural system of all animals is composed of highly specialized cells called neurons, which can detect, receive, and transmit different kinds of stimuli. Moving on to the human neural system. The human neural system is firstly divided into two parts, that is CNS and PNS, central neural system, peripheral neural system. So the CNS includes the brain and spinal cord and is the site of information processing and control. The nerve fibers of the PNS are of two types, which is afferent and efferent. The afferent nerve fibers transmit impulse from the tissues to the CNS, and efferent E, it will transfer from the CNS to the tissues. So you have to know A is from CNS tissues to CNS, E efferent is from CNS to tissues. The PNS is again divided into two types, that is somatic and autonomic. Somatic neural system relays impulses from the CNS to skeletal muscle, while the autonomic neural system transmits impulses from the CNS to involuntary organs and smooth muscles of the body. Again, the autonomic is divided into two types, sympathetic and parasympathetic. And I've also mentioned about visceral nervous system. This was not present in the old Ncert, so this is also an important paragraph. Visceral nervous system is the part of the peripheral nervous system that comprise the whole complex of nerves, fibers, ganglia, and plexus, by which impulse travel from the CNS to the viscera and from the viscera to the CNS. Then moving on to the neuron. Neuron is a very easy topic and an important topic also. A neuron is a microscopic structure consists of three major parts, that is cell body, dendrites and axon. The cell body consists cytoplasm, reticular cell organelles and certain glandular bodies which is called as Nissl granules. Short fibers which branch repeatedly and project out of the body is also called as contains Nissl granule and are called as dendrite. So if you can imagine this diagram, this will become very easy topic for you. If you can imagine this diagram, this part, the long one, is called the axon. These are called the dendrite, and this is a cell body. These are the Nissl granules, and these are the squamous cells, this black one, and the rest, this one is the myelin sheath. So this complete is a myelin sheath, this black is called a squamous cell. So this is the axon terminal. These are the synaptic knobs, and the middle where there is no myelin sheath is called as node of Ranvier. So now let's quickly go through this. The fibers transmit impulse towards the cell body. The axon is a long fiber, the distal end of which is branched. Each branch terminates as a bulb-like structure which is called a synaptic knob, which possesses synaptic vesicles containing chemicals called neurotransmitters. The axons transmit nerve impulse away from the cell body to a synapse or to a neuromuscular junction. So based on the number of axon and dendrites, we have three types, that is multipolar, bipolar, unipolar. Multipolar means one axon, two or more dendrites, which is found in the cerebral cortex. So you can imagine in the brain you will have more number of neurons. So it is multipolar. In bipolar, bipolar is one axon, one dendrite, which is found in retina of eye. How to remember this? Eye, we have two eyes. So it is bipolar. Unipolar is cell body with one axon only. So this is found in embryonic stage. Next, there are two types of axon, that is myelinated and non-myelinated. Myelinated nerve fibers are enveloped with squamous cells which form a myelin sheath around the axon. The gaps between two adjacent myelin sheaths is called node of Ranvier. Myelinated nerve fibers are found in spinal cranial nerves. Unmyelinated nerve fiber is enclosed by a squamous cell that does not form a myelin sheath around the axon and is commonly found in autonomous and somatic neural systems. Moving on to the generation and conduction of a nerve impulse. Neurons are excitable cells because their membranes are in the polarized state. These ion channels which are selectively permeable to different ions. So there are different types of ion channels. When a neuron is not conducting any impulse, that is, it is in a resting state, the axonal membrane is comparatively more permeable to potassium ions and nearly impermeable to sodium ions. So, the membrane is impermeable to negatively charged proteins present in the axoplasm. So, the axoplasm inside the axon contains high concentration of K plus and negatively charged proteins and low concentration of Na plus when it is in resting stage. In contrast, the fluid outside the axon contains low concentration of K plus, high concentration of Na plus, thus form a concentration gradient. These ionic gradients across the resting membrane are maintained by the active transport of ions by sodium-potassium pump, which transports 3 Na plus outwards for 2 K plus into the cell. So you should know this number, 3 Na and 2 K. The outer surface of the axonal membrane possesses the positive charge while its inner surface becomes negatively charged and therefore it is polarized. The electrical potential difference across the resting plasma membrane is called resting potential, which is the value of this is minus 70 millivolts, around minus 70 millivolts. You should know this value also. So when a stimulus is applied at a site on the polarized membrane, the membrane at the site A becomes freely polarized to Na plus. So this is site A and this is site B. This leads to rapid influx of Na plus followed by the reversal of polarity at the site. That is, the outer surface of the membrane will become negatively charged and the inner side will become positively charged. The polarity of the membrane at the site A is thus reversed and hence depolarized. The electrical potential difference across the plasma membrane at site A is called as action potential, which is in fact termed as nerve impulse. The axon at the site B, the axon membrane at the site B, which has a positive charge, results positive charge on the outer surface and a negative charge on its inner surface. So if you see, this is the site B, which has negative charge on the inner surface, positive on the outer surface. So as a result, the current flows on the inner surface from site A to site B and the outer surface current flows from site B to site A to complete the circuit of current flow. Hence the polarity at the site is reversed and the action potential is generated at site B. Thus, the impulse generated at site A arrives at the site B. The rise in the stimulus induced permeability to Na plus is extremely short lived. It is quickly followed by rise in permeability to K plus. Within a fraction of a second, K plus diffuses outside the membrane and restores the resting potential of the membrane at the site of excitation and the fiber becomes more responsive to the further stimulation. Now, the important part is transmission of impulse. So, a nerve impulse is transmitted from one neuron to another through a junction which is called a synapse. A synapse is formed by the membranes of a presynaptic neuron and a postsynaptic neuron, which may or may not be separated by a gap called synaptic cleft. So, there are basically two types of synapse, electrical and chemical. In our body, electrical synapse is very much rare because at electrical synapse the membrane of pre and post should be very nearby and the electric current can flow directly from one neuron to other into the other across the synapse. Impulse transmission across an electrical synapse is always faster than that of a chemical synapse. So in our body, electrical synapse is rare whereas chemical synapse are more. So this is a most probable question, that is the electrical synapse travels faster than the chemical. At a chemical synapse, the membrane of the pre and postsynaptic neurons are separated by a fluid-filled space which is called a synaptic cleft. Chemicals called neurotransmitters are involved in the transmission of impulse at these synapses. When an impulse arrives at the axon terminal, it stimulates the movement of the synaptic vesicles towards the membrane where they fuse with the plasma membrane and release the neurotransmitter in the synaptic cleft. The released neurotransmitter will bind to that specific receptor present on the postsynaptic membrane. This binding opens ion channels, allow the entry of ions which can generate a new potential in the postsynaptic neuron. This new potential develop may be either excitatory or inhibitory. Next, moving on to the CNS, that is central neural system. So the brain is the central information processing organ of our body and acts as a command and control system. It controls the voluntary movements, balance of the body, functioning of vital involuntary organs, thermoregulation, hunger and thirst, circadian, that is 24-hour rhythms of our body, activities of several endocrine glands and human behavior. So it is also a site for processing of vision, speech, memory, intelligence, emotions and thoughts. So now we are going to study about the human brain. So the brain is covered by cranial meninges consisting in outer layers. So this is important PYQ and also a most probable question, outer to inner. You have to arrange it. So these type of questions will be asked. Outer layer is dura mater, middle layer is arachnoid, and the inner layer is pia mater. So there are three parts in the brain: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain will have cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum forms the major part of the human brain, and the cerebrum is divided into left and right cerebral hemispheres. This hemisphere are connected by a track of nerve fibers which is called as corpus callosum. The layer of the cells which covers the cerebral hemisphere is called cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is referred to as grey matter due to the greyish appearance. The cerebral cortex contains motor area, sensory area, large regions that are neither clearly sensory nor motor in function. So these regions are called as association area, and these are responsible for complex function like intense sensory, association, memory, and communication. And the fiber of the tracts are covered with the myelin sheath which constitute the inner part of the cerebral hemisphere, and it is called as white matter due to its whitish appearance. The cerebrum wraps around the structure which is called as thalamus, which is majorly important in coordinating between the sensory and motor signals. Another very important part is hypothalamus, which lies at the base of the thalamus, and this uh, has a number of centers which control the body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. The inner parts of the cerebral hemispheres and a group of associated deep structures like amygdala, hippocampus form a complex structure called the limbic lobe or limbic system. Along with the hypothalamus, it is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotional reactions, and motivation. This is about forebrain, which has mainly cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. Next is the midbrain. The midbrain is located between the thalamus or hypothalamus of the forebrain and the pons of hindbrain. A canal called the cerebral aqueduct passes through the midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists of four round swelling lobes which are called as corpora quadrigemina. So there are four lobes, it is called quadri. So about midbrain, cerebral aqueduct and corpora quadrigemina. Hindbrain is very important. The hindbrain comprises of pons, cerebellum, medulla. The pons consist of fiber tracts that interconnect different regions of the brain. Cerebellum has a convoluted surface in order to provide the additional space for many neurons. The medulla of the brain is connected to the spinal cord, and it has different centers such as respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, and gastric secretions. And these three regions make up the brain stem. So midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Brainstem forms the connection between the brain and the spinal cord. So this is all about this chapter. In the previous NCERT, you will also find ear and eye, which is not given in the new NCERT. So as we are going according to the new NCERT, that is not included in this video. So please like, share, subscribe so that you don't miss out any notification. Thank you all, and please wait for the next video. Thank you.